I'm going to show you a couple things on the CNC machine it's really good information to know if you're running a program that you're not familiar with. So I'm going to show you what you can look for to prevent from crashing the machine, and just to make it more comfortable when you go to run a CNC program for the first time that maybe you didn't even write, but you just want to make sure that everything's going to cut out correctly. The first thing I'm going to show you is how do I determine if the boring bar of the CNC machine is going to ram into the jaws in the CNC process. Negative 1.03, you add these two together and that will get you the value of how far the tool is going to move from the Z offset point. So take these two values, add those together, and then add that to your offset value of the Z. Now that I have those two values, I could put the machine in a hand jog mode, and I could manually move the machine all the way to that point so that we know that if this tool is capable of going that far, that it's not going to crash. So I did my math and I brought the boring bar as far as this tool is going to go in the CNC program, and we have probably 30 thousandths tolerance before this tool would crash into the jaws. So there's enough tolerance there. The way that I'm able to figure that out is, like I said, add these two together, so that's 2.9 to this value, which makes this value 21.825. So we bring the machine up to 21.825, and that determines if the CNC machine is going to crash there. Now let's go ahead and pull the tool out of the machine. And I'm going to show you how to run a graph to just get a general idea of what the CNC program is going to do as it runs. We're going to click on Memory, and we're going to go to Settings, Graph. You click that twice, and here is where you can run the CNC program on a simulator. Now the execution speed is 100%, so we're going to turn that down because it's just way too fast. We're going to press F3 to slower it, or F4 to make it faster, which is already maxed out. So I'm going to turn it down, let's just do 40%. Now you're going to hit the cycle start button. I'm going to cancel that one out. So it's doing the inside bore, right? Actually, no, that's not the inside. Well, it's an inside bore, but I did that as the clearance program for the radius. So what this did here is, first it made clearance for that radius, and then I had it go over and bore out the inducer for the compressor wheel, and then I had it finish up with the radius, and just came on through. So that's a pretty simple way to look at what the CNC program is going to do, and just give you some knowledge about it. That way you're less likely to crash the machine. And if you're doing it for the first time, you always want to run it at a 5% rapid rate. So your rapid speeds on this machine are down here, 5, 25, 50, and 100. So you change it right there. And you can always turn the spindle speed down if you wanted to do that too. So that's pretty neat. We go back to my program. You're gonna have to reset it. Now our program's back up. Memory one more time. And now we can run it. Another thing that you can do is, there's this menu right here for the positions. So this one, you get to that by pressing this button. You can go through these different menus. So this is, I guess, talking in relation to your 0 point, your work offset. This one is the actual machine position from the machine's 0. This one right here is the one I prefer to stay on, because this one will determine how far the machine has to go before it starts to go back to the next pass. So if you're not sure how far the tool is going to go and you want to know how much farther it's going to go, you can go to this menu. That way you'll determine if you're about to cut way too much off or crash or something along those lines. So right now I just got the machine turning with the feed hold on. So if I want to just continue the program, you just hit that. So I have it do a couple passes without it cutting anything. That's just for my safety. Right now it's just finishing up the radius clearance program that I wrote. So this program I wrote as an inside bore. I may have been able to write that as a face program, but I've actually never written one of those before. But that would be a good learning experience for me. It's just now finishing up the inside bore and getting ready to finish off the program with the radius program. Now is the start of the radius program. See, there's our position to go. Just going to go in just a little bit more and start the next pass. I've got 4 of these machined tonight. So one thing to watch out for to prevent crashing the CNC machine is tolerance of the part about to hit the deck. So there's a couple ways you can go about trying to fix that. You can have a longer boring bar. In some cases, like in my case, I'm not able to use a longer boring bar, so I shave the deck a little bit. That's probably a no-no, but I just really needed to do the jobs that I need done, so I don't really care about customizing the machine. I've seen where some people have cut like large amounts out of the deck, not on this machine, but on another machine that I have. Another thing that can cause a part to crash is this lid right here. Now one way I check is I check to see if I have enough swing to make this clearance. On one I did this past week, I had enough swing for this clearance, but it was hitting this part. And I didn't notice it until I turned the spindle on, so you gotta be really careful. Another thing that caused that though is that this piece was bent down, so the door was actually lower than it was supposed to be. And I bent that back, so it's fixed now. But had this been standing where it was supposed to be, higher, then I probably wouldn't have had that compressor housing hitting against the top of this lid here.